And we start with major news from the White House. Just hours ago, the administration confirming President Biden will travel to Europe next week to attend an emergency summit with NATO leaders focused on Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine, now in week 3. And Ukraine's president says 97 children have been killed since that violence began. This is the capital city of Kyiv imposes a 35-hour curfew because of Russia's attacks. We do have reporters fanned out across the globe covering every aspect of the ongoing war in Ukraine. We want to get right to NewsNation correspondent Kelly Meyer, who was live in Washington. So, Kelly, you have details about the president's upcoming trip.
That's right, Nicole. This is a rare summit for NATO. This is the first time President Joe Biden is back in Europe since his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin last summer. The White House says Biden wanted to meet face-to-face with NATO leaders. The head of NATO is calling for this emergency meeting, saying, quote, "At this critical time, North America and Europe must continue to stand together." The meeting will focus on Russia's invasion of Ukraine, reassuring support for Ukrainians and what more NATO can do to strengthen its own defenses as Russian attacks inch closer to the border with Poland, a NATO member. The White House says Biden is also set to join an already scheduled meeting of the European Council summit as the EU and U.S. continue to hit Russia with economic sanctions. Today, Russia hitting back, slapping sanctions on President Biden himself and key members of his administration. The Russian Foreign Ministry retaliating with personal sanctions from Biden to his son Hunter to the Secretary of State and Defense Secretary and Hillary Clinton, to name a few. Also on the list, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. She had this biting reaction to Russia's move during the press briefing earlier today. Take a listen.
I would first note that President Biden is a junior, so they may have sanctioned his dad. May he rest in peace. The second piece I would say is that won't surprise any of you that none of us are planning tourist trips to Russia. None of us have bank accounts that we won't be able to access, so we will forge ahead.
And former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton also reacting to Russia's sanctions earlier today, writing on Twitter, quote, "I want to thank the Russian Academy for this Lifetime Achievement Award." The U.S. and allies have already sanctioned Russian banks, Russian elites, and Putin. They have threatened to go after Russian military for their involvement in the war, but this has yet to stop Moscow. And Ukraine's president expected to ask for more help from the U.S. and allies when he addresses members of Congress virtually tomorrow. Nicole?
All right, so Kelly, what are we expecting to hear from the president of Ukraine, and that's tomorrow?
We'll expect to hear more from him, asking for more support, more weapons like surface-to-air missiles, and help getting those MiG-29 fighter jets into Ukraine. Those planes were offered up by Poland, but the U.S. nixed the plan because the jets were going to be sent first to the U.S. base in Germany before going into Ukraine. The Biden administration felt moving this plan could escalate this to World War III. And this as bipartisan lawmakers are calling on the president to reconsider getting those jets into Ukraine. This is setting up a showdown between the president and some members of his own party. Nicole?
All right, Kelly Meyer live for us from the White House. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.